English language history books, the Kanaka are resisting. The killing of Cook, for example, was resistance to the attempted subjugation of the Mo'i ruler of Hawai'i Island. How is it that the history of struggle has been omitted to such a great extent from Hawaiian historiography? Part of the answer lies in the nature of the colonial takeover itself. As Ngugiwa Tiango has explained, the biggest weapon wielded by imperialism is the cultural bomb. The effect of a cultural bomb is to annihilate a people's belief in their names, in their languages, in their environment, in their heritage of struggle, in their unity, in their capacities, and ultimately in themselves. Beginning in the mid-19th century, the Hawaiian language was disparaged as inadequate to the task of progress. After the political coup of 1893, the U.S. identified oligarchy, outlawed public and private schools taught in the Hawaiian language, and English became the only acceptable language for business and government. By the mid-20th century, the idea that English was the language of Hawaii seemed natural, especially because, except by some persistent Kanaka, Hawaii was no longer regarded as a separate nation with its own people having their own history and language. When historians and others composed their narratives, they naturally conducted their research using only the English language sources. One of my goals in this work is to denaturalize these notions and practices, because it is still possible to obtain a doctorate in history specializing in Hawaii and not be required to learn the Hawaiian language or use Hawaiian language sources. Why does it matter that this history of resistance is documented and analyzed? Why does it matter that we read what Kanaka Maoli wrote in their own language 100 and more years ago? We might just as well ask, how do a people come to know who they are? How do a colonized people recover from the violence done to their past by the linguicide that accompanies colonialism? Although stories are passed on individually in families, much is lost, especially during times of mass death due to epidemics. When the stories told at home do not match up with the texts at school, students are taught to doubt the oral versions. The epistemology of the school system is firmly Western in nature. What is written counts. When the stories can be validated, as happens when scholars read the literature in Hawaiian and make the findings available to the community, people begin to recover from the wounds caused by that disjuncture in their consciousness. In 1998, for example, an ad hoc committee of community members, of which I was a part, approached the Bishop Museum in Honolulu with an idea to educate the public about the 1897 anti-annexation petition, which during the course of this research I had located in the U.S. National Archives. In response, the Bishop Museum agreed to display a reproduction of all 556 pages of the petition. Because of the publicity generated by the museum to promote the exhibit, the Kanaka Maoli community throughout the islands suddenly knew of the existence of mass opposition to annexation in 1897. I was then deluged with telephone calls every day from strangers thanking me. In the phone calls and in person, many individuals told me that they knew or suspected that their grandparents or great-grandparents had been opposed to the U.S. takeover, but that they had had no proof before this. One woman clutched her petition book to her chest and proclaimed, "Now we will never forget again." The petition and the story of the several hui that organized it changed the commemoration of the 1898 annexation in many ways. Activist David Keanusai coined the slogan of the commemoration, "We are who we were." The petition, inscribed with the names of everyone's kupuna, gave people permission from their ancestors to participate in the quest for national sovereignty. More important, it affirmed for them that their kupuna had not stood by idly, apathetically, while their nation was taken from them. Instead, contrary to every history book on the shelf, they learned that their ancestors had, as James Kaulia put it, taken up the honorable field of struggle. For people today, the petition represents the political struggle of the Maka'ainana, for although the hui were led by ali'i, rulers, and kaukau ali'i of lesser rank, it was the collective power of the Maka'ainana, 21,269 signatures,